Togo, a small West African nation with a land area of approximately 56,785 square kilometers, is rich in natural resources. The country boasts deposits of phosphate, limestone, marble, and other valuable minerals. Yet despite this wealth, Togo remains one of the poorest countries in the region. Why? Because its government operates less like a democratic institution and more like a mafia. Today, we are diving deep in the heart of Togo's political landscape, a landscape where chaos reigns and misery is the only constant. Togo descent into what can only be described as a mafia state began with Gnassingbé Eyadéma, who ruled from 1967 until his death in 2005. During the early years of his rule, Togo was a beacon of stability in West Africa, a favorite vacation spot with first-class hotels and beautiful beaches. The country was seen as a model of development, loyalty to the West, and resistance to communism. However, beneath this facade of stability, Eyadéma did little for his people or the economy. Over time, as he lost favor and international support waned, Togo began a steep decline. The economy faltered, public service deteriorated, and the once thriving tourist industry withered away. By the time of his death, Togo was a shadow of its former self. Its people left frustrated and impoverished. Interestingly, both Eyadéma and his son Faure Gnassingbé, who took over after him, have never married. Despite ruling the country for decades, Togo has never had a first lady. Instead, both father and son have maintained multiple mistresses, leading some to wonder if there is a totem or family tradition that prevents the Gnassingbés from having a formal first lady. The absence of a first lady is symbolic of the broader neglect and disdain the regime has for the country's institution and people. Imagine a country where markets are deliberately burned to prevent entrepreneurs from rising, where hospitals and universities barely function, and where misery is etched into the faces of every citizen. Despite possessing vast mineral wealth, including phosphate reserves that rank among the largest in the world, the people of Togo remain impoverished. This is Togo, where the government oppresses its people to maintain power, much like how a mafia keeps its territory in line. In Togo today, the dire state of healthcare means that pregnant women are often forced to give birth on the floor due to the lack of hospital beds and basic medical equipment. The country's healthcare system is crippled by staff shortages, with only 2 midwives available for every 10,000 people. Meanwhile, university graduates unable to find work often turn to driving motorcycle taxis, known locally as Zemijan, as their only source of income. In Togo, this calculated chaos serves a purpose. It ensures that the populace remain too oppressed to challenge the regime. A country rich in natural resources is reduced to poverty with no access to quality healthcare or education. The Togolese people are kept in a perpetual state of dependence and fear, unable to escape the iron grip of their rulers. And what of opposition in Togo? Some alternative news sources suggest that there are no genuine opposition leaders left. According to these reports, all opposition parties in Togo are funded by President Fauregnassingbe himself, making them mere puppets in his game of power. This setup creates the illusion of democracy while ensuring that real opposition is non-existent. It is a mafia-style operation where every player is either controlled or eliminated. I personally believe that Fauregnassingbe is worse than his father, and here is why. Unlike his father, Fauregnassingbe is highly educated. He received his secondary education in Lomé before studying in Paris at the University Paris Dauphine, where he he earned a degree in financial business management. He later obtained a Master of Business Administration (MBA) from the George Washington University in the United States. How can an educated man with all these credentials manage a tiny country in this manner? Despite his education, the country has deteriorated even further under his rule. This makes his failures even more unforgivable. He has the knowledge and the tools to make a difference, yet he chooses to maintain power through oppression and corruption just like a mafia boss. And just when you think it can get worse, President Fauregnassingbe pushes through constitutional changes that could keep him in power until 2030. Despite promises of term limits, these amendments conveniently don't apply to him, allowing him to run for 2 more terms. It is a blatant power grab, further cementing the Gnassingbé dynasty control. The international community watches, but little changes. Inside Togo, the misery continues, the chaos persists, and the people suffer. Togo is not just a country in crisis. It is a country held hostage by its own government. A government that, like a mafia, thrives on chaos and fear. Despite its abundant natural resource and strategic location, the people of Togo see little benefits. Instead, they live in misery, trapped in a cycle of poverty and oppression. Togo was once a model of stability, a jewel of West Africa, but now it is a nation marked by decline and despair. The absence of a first lady under the Gnassingbé rule is just one of the many symbols of the regime's disregard for the people it governs.